Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I wanted to focus on something that a lot of us probably somewhat know about, but really could use a deeper dive into, and that is the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and so all laws that are created since that point have to uphold the values of that document. That means that anytime that a law is created that goes against that, then it can be declared unconstitutional by the court system. When the Constitution was created, though, some of the main components that they kept in the Constitution were related to slavery. The two main components that are part of the Constitution that uphold modern racism are the 3/5 clause and the acknowledgement that slavery will maintain itself, or the slave trade rather, until 1808. These two components made sure to uphold the values of slavery while actually calling for greater equality. And the reality was the only people who maintained equality at the time, and to a certain extent today, were white men. This has only changed because of the development of amendments. The fifth article of the Constitution acknowledges the amendment process, and currently there are 27 amendments. 4 of those are particular to essentially black Americans, whether it was to free enslaved people through the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments and provide them for their rights, or the 24th Amendment, which was meant to correct some of the wrongs that resulted from the passing of those amendments. Each of these was created to establish equality for people of color and particularly black people. This, of course, did not work. Many of these amendments had loopholes or since have been used to totally misconstrue their initial purpose and actually provide benefits to and take away rights from different groups. Each of those amendments has been interpreted in different ways throughout history, but the reality is they've each been used in a way to further create inequity in the United States and best support the systems of white supremacy that continue today. The 13th Amendment was meant to free the slaves, and at the time it did benefit those individuals, but there is a loophole in the 13th Amendment, which has been highlighted in many different works, including the documentary 13th on Netflix, created by Ava DuVernay. The 13th Amendment acknowledges that slavery cannot exist, except in a few specific conditions, particularly for those who are imprisoned. This has created our modern prison industrial complex, by which a large majority of our prisoners who are black are working for free or for the most minute wages, in many cases for companies or just for the United States. The 14th Amendment provides equal protection under the law, and that basically means that if a black person and a white person are accused of the same crime, they would both undergo the same legal justice system, and if convicted, would hopefully receive the same sentencing. Or if not convicted, they would both be freed. The system today is flawed because there are so many people waiting for a trial. There are people who are not wealthy enough to post bail for a crime that they may not have even committed, and it's perpetuating a system by which black men and black people in general tend to be the highest proportion of those in prisons and thus working in for prison labor. While the 15th Amendment did create a larger and existing black voter base that developed into black representation in Congress just after its passing, it has since been taken advantage of and misconstrued in order to remove the right to vote from black individuals. This initially came in the form of poll taxes. Basically, states would acknowledge that some people would have to pay in order to vote, which in modern times is illegal because of the 24th Amendment, which restricted poll taxes. However, these problems continue because access to voting for black individuals is by far the most difficult. If you follow any news when elections happen, you'll see that wherever there is a predominantly black community, there tend to be longer lines and fewer voting machines as a result of a lack of money given to those communities in order to uphold election integrity. These different issues are, again, not new. They've evolved over time intentionally. All of this is to say that the Constitution and all the amendments since are a reflection of who created them. Among these amendments, the four that I mentioned, there's only one amendment that actually had black congresspeople involved and even present in the process, and that was the 24th Amendment, the one that passed in the 60s. Beyond that, the amendments which dictate the lives of black folks and people of color in the United States were not directly impacted or written by the people that they would affect. Ultimately, white supremacy and the realities of who has power in America have shaped the way that inequality on a systemic level exists and persists. The organizations and communities that are fighting today in support of Black lives are trying to progress to a future in which there is equality. The reality is that as we look back on history, there is no point in which everyone is equal. It is really just that those in power, particularly white men, controlled what happened to all other peoples, and as a result, maintained this system of oppression that has persisted for 400 plus years. I want to thank you all for watching this video. This week, I'd like to highlight an individual rather than an organization. Kimberly Latrice Jones is the co-author of I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, and recently was featured in a video in which she highlighted the injustices of Black individuals in a much deeper way than I've been able to cover today. So I will post the link to that and to her book as well. Please support her and the movement, of course. Otherwise, thank you so much for checking out this video and our channel. If you can, please follow us on Instagram and on YouTube at TC4RJ, and share this video if you can. And thanks again.